So you know the ones when you're listening to a song that you really like and you're like, that's my tune.
That's my tune. Hey, this is Jojo Bean. This is episode 40 of That's My Tune, the podcast providing song reviews and interviews. Last week I interviewed Benny Busy regarding his song Treading Water. Today is another song review. I told you I was going to do better, right? The song I've chosen is Earth, Wind and Fire, After the Love Has Gone. I've been wanting to do this for ages and I've finally gotten around to it. So sit back, try and enjoy the song because it's quite, emotional. And when I return, I'm going to delve quite deeply into why I like the song so much and a lot more. So I'll be back after this. Ooh, After the Love Has Gone. What an it's just emotional, isn't it? Dropped in 1979 and is essentially a song about heartbreak, breakup. And I saw this funny comment from a DJ very recently about it. And he said something along the lines of, After the Love Has Gone has me missing my wife and I haven't even been married. Like, can you imagine? A song is so deep, it has you missing somebody you have not even met yet. Like, it's crazy, isn't it? And speaking of missing someone, who watched the verses, Earth, Wind and Fire versus Isley Brothers? I watched the majority of it, really enjoyed it. And Steve Harvey was the host for the night. And the first half is like, this guy was sharing so many stories. In 1970, felt this, and I remember this girl this, and I played the song down the phone and da-da-da-da-da. And as entertaining as the stories were, it's like, fam, this is not the Steve Harvey show. This is about the Isley Brothers and Earth, Wind and Fire. I mein, it got so bad that people on Twitter were complaining that he was talking too much. And then the second half, he was like, okay, guys, like, Isley Brothers, Earth, Wind and Fire, they're just going to go hit for hit. There's not going to be any breaks. And like Swizz Beatz, I think he tweeted something along the lines of saying that, yeah, we spoke to him like backstage, like, and we're like, yes. No offense, Steve Harvey, but you know what I mean? It was just hilarious. And by the way, on Instagram, there's this comedian called comedian Godfrey, and him, Spice Adams, and this other gentleman called Affian Crockett, I hope I pronounced his name correctly, they do an excellent parody of that night. It's so funny. Spice Adams is Ron Isley, Affian is Verdine White, and Godfrey is Steve Harvey, and it's hilarious. Like, Godfrey is the funniest because he does the best impression of Steve Harvey. It's hilarious. But yeah, After the Love Is Gone is one of Earth, Wind and Fire's most popular songs. And I actually, for a long time, I've been wanting to do Earth, Wind and Fire, a review of one of their songs for a long time. And they have a huge catalogue. And I was like, which one should I do? And I thought, this one makes sense. For me, this song just transcends the parameters of time. I could be 100 years old and still fall in love with it in a way, in a new way, because it's just that dope. It's so well produced and so well thought out and well put together. And I'm going to do my best to do a good review because I could sit here all day talking about this song. Like, there's so many elements that I could talk about. But what I'm going to do, like the approach I'm going to do is like, just share a few facts and touch on a few favorite points of the song. Like, I'm just going to do my best because there's a lot. It's a very heavy song. David Foster was one of the three writers of the song. Earth, Wind and Fire produced it. And of course, there are tons of covers of the song. Even David Foster did his own. But this one, to my knowledge, is the most known, most popular, if you will. And if you'd like to know more about David Foster, you can go on Netflix and check out his documentary called Off the Record. Absolutely amazing. Like, he has written, produced and been involved in some of the biggest hits and productions we know of, and has worked with artists such as Celine Dion and Michael Bublé. Honestly, when I watched it, I was like, oh snap. Like, I'm not going to spoil it for you, but all I'll say is that watch it. If you're a music head like me, watch it. Like, he's a true giant in the industry. It's not a joke. And one last thing I'd like to mention, I think I said it before one of the previous episodes, but I need to say it again. I got to see Earth, Wind and Fire at Wireless Festival back in 2013. Amazing experience, but it's only recently that I got to find out that Maurice White, God bless his soul, he wasn't present at that performance because he was ill. So now it makes sense to me why Philip Bailey was the one who was engaging with us in the crowd. It didn't really click to me back then. And I actually do remember when Maurice White passed away. He passed away in 2016. I was at home in my room and one of my friends sent me a text. It was a link of the article announcing Maurice White's death. And I was like, what? And I was really sad because I was like, do you understand how much I love Earth, Wind and Fire? It was really, really sad. And one last thing, by the way, when I'm plugging stuff, nobody's telling me to do it. I'm doing it of my own free will. If you want to know more about Maurice White's life, you can go on Amazon. He has a memoir called My Life with Earth, Wind and Fire. So it talks about his life from beginning to end. And also, obviously, about the band as well. It's very, I drank and ate that book. I read it in every spare moment. I haven't read a book like that in so long, in years. I used to be a very avid reader back in the day, and then, things happen, you grow up and you're consumed by music all the time. But reading that book, every waking moment I read it, it's fascinating stuff. But yes, back to the song review. Let's do a quick breakdown of the instruments. So you have your piano, you have your bass guitar, you have your synthesized bass, you got your strings, your Rhodes, your horn section, drum kit, and a variety of synths and electric guitar. I'm not going to go into all the effects and stuff like that because, again, it's too much for this song. It's a lot. But yeah, let's talk more about the instrumental structure of the song. So if you notice in the intro, there's no drum beat until the pre-chorus. When it goes, something happened along the way. So yeah, but there's only some very light cymbals at the beginning before Maurice starts singing. It's just a piano, Rhodes, then strings follow with some sort of lead synth. And the instrumentation for the verse is very simple. It's literally piano and Rhodes, and I think a little bit of synth. It's that simple, and I love it. It's just, yeah, it allows for there to be breathing space and just for you to listen to the singing, and we'll get to the vocals in a moment. But I just love the simplicity of the first verse. Do you know what I mean? And then you get to the pre-chorus. You got the piano, the Rhodes, drum kit, bass guitar, electric guitar, ding, 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 like, ooh, your horn section and your strings. And my favorite part is that little section that connects the pre-chorus to the chorus. And yesterday was all we had. And it's like, ding. I love it. It's just that anticipation to just sing your heart out of the chorus. Like, guys, are you ready? Like, 1, 2, 3, 4, and oh. I love it. Again, we'll get to the vocals in a second, but I just love how this was just that note. It just, everybody just does it in unison. Do you know what I mean? I just love it. Oh. The chorus, you got your piano, your Rhodes, your bass guitar, your strings. One thing I like about the strings, is when it goes, yeah, very terrible singing. I love it. It's just a simple melody, but it's singable. Do you know what I mean? And then the horn section, dun, 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 dun. Again, just these subtle little things that just make it just, like when you're cooking and you're just putting these spices here and there, you're putting your seasoning, and you put in your little paprika and you put in your black pepper and, a bit of herbs as well. And it just makes it just tastes like, that's what it feels like with this song. All these little subtle things that just, And do you know one thing about the chorus, right? It has so many moving parts. The chords are constantly changing, and it's almost as if it's meant to reflect how one goes through and processes a breakup. You go through so many emotions, and it's like it's never a straight line. And I feel like that was, I don't know if that was the intention with the production, but to me, that's how it reads, right? When you go through a breakup, you go through all these different emotions, and the chorus, I mean, it kind of reflects a little bit in the verse, but it's more prominent in the chorus, where the chords are forever just changing to kind of show, like, Do you get what I'm saying? Am I making sense? I hope I am. So once we get to the second verse, the drums come through. You got your kick drum and your close hi-hat. And instead of the live bass, the electric bass is now a synthesized bass, so it kind of gives it a different texture. Do you see what I'm saying? And then the strings come through like in the second half of the chorus. The second verse, and also subtle synth as well. Then when you get to the second pre-chorus, you find that it's a bit longer than the first one. And the horn section, there's a change. So when you listen to the first pre-chorus, I forgot to mention this earlier. When it gets to like the second half of it, the horns, like, they play 3-part harmony, and it's like obviously I can't sing 3 parts, but yeah, I'm not Layla Hathaway out here. Do you know what I mean? But with this time round, with the horn section in the second pre-chorus, something happened along the way. Along the way, we used to be happy, we're sad. So do you see what I'm saying? So it's more, yeah. So that's another change that I noticed. And then you also find that there's no the synthesized bass goes and the live bass comes back, and it's like that for the rest of the track. So I wonder what made them decide, okay, we're going to use the synthesized bass for the second verse, but then live for the rest of it. I wonder. I wish I could, have been in that session to find out, like, these little choices. When you get to the second chorus now, that's when there are changes. So the piano, for example, is no longer smooth. It starts doing this dun 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 dun. So which is interesting. After the so you have the piano that's still doing that thing, and then what you find is that the horn section mimics that as well. So it's still doing the but then it's also doing the thing. And then later on in the chorus, when the chorus is sung a few other times, then there's another bit of the horns that goes do you see what I'm saying? So it's like all these overdubs, and it's really, really dope, like the way they arrange that. I like a really good horn arrangement, a horn section arrangement. I love it. It's absolutely dope. Do you understand how dope this song is? Do you really understand? Do you really? And then of course you have your saxophone solo that, like, where you can't even sing about your feelings anymore. You just need to let the saxophone do its thing. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's just like, yes, saxophone, like, play my feelings. I can't sing it anymore. And do you know what the great thing about the ending is how the majority of the instruments fade out along with the vocals, and all you're left with is the strings, the saxophone, I think a bit of the synth as well. The only thing that spoils it for me is how the next song fades in. So it spoils it because it's like you're literally getting into your feelings. It's like you're almost floating. You've got the strings and the saxophone. It's just taking you somewhere. And then the next song coming up is just fading in. And to me, it kind of it spoiled it for me, to be very honest. I don't know who decided to let that, because it would have been great for the strings and the saxophone to just let it marinate. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like, I don't know if you listen to Andre 3000 Prototype, from Outkast, right? And like towards the end, I think I'm in love again. And what it's just literally the synth. And then, Andre 3000 is just saying some random, we're not recording, vocals are just lightly here and there, but it's literally just the synth, and you're literally floating, and it just lets you just let you sink into it. And I wish that with this song, it was allowed like for us to just take in the strings and the saxophone. Do you know what I mean? That's the only thing I don't really like about this, but there you go. Now let's quickly go on to the vocals. Now, one thing I've noticed is that Maurice tends to use this technique. It's called double tracking, where basically you sing your vocal, but you sing it like 2 or 3 times on top of it. So in this case, his verses and his choruses, he tends to do it with quite a few of his songs. So a lot of the time, especially in today's modern music, when an artist sings a vocal, instead of singing on top of it, what they would just do is like copy and paste it, maybe to give it more volume. But I like double tracking because it gives a texture and makes the vocal thicker as well. So yeah, that's something quite distinct that Maurice tends to do, and he's done it with this as well. And it's all in the center. It's not panned. It's in the center. So I think that's a great technique that's used. So yeah, there's a bit of reverb on his vocal. I did say I wouldn't really get into effects too tough with this particular song because there's a lot. But yes, that's the technique he tends to use. With the first verse, it's just Maurice. There's no BVs. Pre-chorus, the vocals are panned and in unison. The second time they sing Something Happened Along the Way. Of course, Phil Bailey sings the higher octave, whilst Maurice White sings the lower octave. You know, because we all know that Philip Bailey has the dopest falsetto. I mean, it's just his. The first chorus, After the Love Is Gone, is sang in unison. After the love is gone. And then how Can You Lead Me On is 3-part harmony all throughout the chorus. When you get to the second verse, again, it's just Maurice White again singing. There are only 2 places where there's BV. So when they sing, oh baby, so that's in unison. And when he says, very scared, I love it. It was just like, very scared. And again, it just adds a little flavor, a little dynamic. When the pre-chorus is sung again, it's like, something happened along the way. And you should be sad. Something happened along the way. We used to be happy and sad. Something happened along the way. And of course, you got Philip Bailey who does the higher octave. So again, different dynamic, different texture, gives it, you know, that extra vroom. Or vim, sorry. You got the chorus again with few ad-libs here and there from Maurice White, but it's like he's not right in front of the mic. It's almost like he's away from it. It's just doing it. So something happened along the way. Then you have the chorus. Everything is all right. You know, right. So now we're going to get to what is like the finale, the real meat of it all, right? So, can love that's lost be found? Oh. So that is the bit. It's like, remember earlier on when I mentioned about the emotions, especially being reflected in the chorus? This bit right here is as if, you know, everything is just come to the forefront. Like, wait, hold on. Like, this heartbreak is actually happening. And it's like the vocals are sung with more urgency and like anger. Like, how could you do this? Like, after the love has gone. Like, if you've noticed, it starts on 3-part harmony from the jump. And the parts are inverted. So it's like this, the tenor sings what the alto would have sung. The alto sings what the soprano would have sung. And the soprano sings a higher part. So that also adds to the urgency. And the chord structure also accommodates for that as well. So it's really interesting. I can't explain it, but yeah, there's a change to accommodate that. And it's just really interesting. And also, you know, usually when I be like, can love that's lost be found? It's like, can love that's lost be found? You know, be found. You know what I mean? It's just, I just wish that I was in the room when David Foster and the other 2 gentlemen were writing this song. And I also wish I was there when Maurice White and the band, when Earth, Wind & Fire was sitting there producing it. And I'm sure David Foster, for example, must have been there whilst Earth, Wind & Fire were producing it. And just how they came together to arrange it all. Because it's so fascinating how it's just Yeah. But again, like the way those final choruses hit, you know, with the slight change of arrangement in the vocals and the chords and like the horns and stuff. Again, it's like when you reach that point and you're like, oh my gosh, is this actually, so can this love that's lost be actually found? Like, seriously, is this actually happening to me? Like, do you get what I mean? It's just absolutely dope. Like, I think I've accomplished my mission, folks. Because I've been wanting to do this song for a while. But like I said, because there's so much going on, I'm like, how do I approach this? How do I execute this? But I think I've pulled it apart enough to get the point across. And I hope you guys understand and have enjoyed this one, because this song means a lot to me. I love it. It's just, whether you've been through a breakup or not, like, it's just such a superb song. And I just, I'm glad I've done it now. I picked the right moment for myself. You know what I mean? But it's an excellent song, well produced. It's quality. And it's still an amazing song up until this day. So, yes. Thank you, Maurice White, for producing this. God rest your soul. David Foster, if you ever hear this, thank you for writing this. You and the two other writers. Thank you. Thank you so much. And that is the end of the song review, and that is the end of this episode. If you'd like to know more about this podcast, please go on linktree/TMT_podcast. You'll find everything: social media, Spotify, YouTube. If you'd like to email, it's that'smytunepodcast@gmail.com. I'll be back next Tuesday with yet another episode for you to enjoy. Until then, enjoy the rest of the day. Enjoy your week. Bye-bye.